Good afternoon, everyone. My apologies for the delay here. Thank you for your patience and thank you for your accommodation. You are joining us here at the California DOJ headquarters. Thank you for doing so as we announce our 2022 camp season results and make an exciting announcement about the future of the program. I want to begin, as I often do, by acknowledging and thanking our partners in this effort, including the folks right here beside me. State Director Karen Mortson and Special Agent in Charge Dylan Reagan with the Bureau of Land Management, Chief David Bess with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Executive Director John Martin of the Central Valley High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Task Force. Thank you to our partners. Wouldn't be here without you. In addition to the agencies represented here, I'd also like to thank our partners at the Drug Enforcement Administration, the U.S. Forest Service, California State Parks, California National Guard, the National Park Service, and nearly 24 local law enforcement agencies across the state. Public safety, law enforcement, getting the job done. It's about collaboration, coalition building, and partnership, and we have that, I'm very proud to say, at a very high level. And finally, I want to thank and acknowledge members of my team who spearhead this important work and led today's program announcement. John Marsh, Chief of the Division of Law Enforcement; Luis Lopez, Assistant Chief of the Division of Law Enforcement; Stephen Woolery, Director, Bureau of Investigation; Susie Perry, Special Agent in Charge; Patrick Haig, Acting Camp Commander; Bob McLaughlin, Camp Aviation Safety and Training Coordinator; Harinder Kapoor, Senior Assistant Attorney General; and Michael Redding, the Special Assistant Attorney General. The Campaign Against Marijuana Planting Program, or CAMP, is the largest illegal cannabis eradication program in the country, in the entire nation. For decades, the program's annual campaigns have been a multi-agency collaboration led by the California Department of Justice with critical assistance provided by our local, state, and federal partners. It takes all of us working together to make sure California's cannabis industry is in the legal, safe, and regulated marketplace, not in the illicit one. This is important because illegal and unlicensed cannabis planting harms our environment, it harms our safety and our economy. During this 2022 season, our agents were divided into 3 teams that covered the northern, central, and southern California regions and conducted 13 weeks of operations across 26 counties. Today, we are announcing that this year our camp teams conducted 449 operations. We eradicated nearly 1 million illegally cultivated cannabis plants and more than 200,000 pounds of processed cannabis. We seized and recovered 184 firearms, the largest number in recent memory, and we removed more than 67,000 pounds of cultivation infrastructure, including dams, water lines, and toxic chemicals. These large illicit operations put our people and environment in harm's way. Take, for example, that at sites this year, our team again discovered highly toxic chemicals, including carbofuran, a lethal insecticide that is effectively banned in the United States, but was present in many of these operations. Just to put it in perspective, a quarter teaspoon of this chemical can kill a 600-pound lion in minutes. Just imagine what it could do to a human or a fish in our waterways. Our agents also again discovered the pervasive realities of, tragically, human trafficking. When our agents find people at operation sites living in squalid conditions, alone for months on end, and with no way out, these are not the people who are profiting from the illegal cannabis industry. They're being abused. They're the victims. They are cogs in a much bigger, more organized machine, and to be clear, they are being exploited. The harms and dangers, unfortunately, don't end there. Our teams found industrial materials littering our forests, thousands of feet of water lines, siphoning away precious water from our streams and from our rivers, impacting communities and farmers already facing water scarcity from this drought. We also saw and found caches of firearms and ammunition. In 2022, there is simply no excuse for any of this. With the largest legal cannabis market in the world right here in California, there is no excuse for an illicit market that causes this widespread harm to our people and to our environment. And that gets me to our second announcement today. Building on over 3 decades of work, we are taking the next step in cannabis enforcement, transitioning CAMP into a new effort that we're calling EPIC, the Eradication and Prevention of Illicit Cannabis. EPIC represents an important shift in mindset and in mission to reflect some of the gravest harms, most egregious harms arising from these illegal operations. We are focusing on environmental damage, labor exploitation, and tax evasion and organized crime. This transition marks an evolution in DOJ's cannabis enforcement work, transitioning us from seasonal eradication to year-round enforcement that brings with it more resources and a team of DOJ agents who will work with our law enforcement partners to do the following: shut down illegal, large-scale grows that harm our environment and harm our public health, put a stop to migrants and workers being trafficked, exploited, subjected to dangerous and deadly conditions, and dismantle illicit operations that undermine our legal market and fund organized crime. This new program is using ongoing seasonal eradication work as a starting point to build and prosecute civil and criminal cases, and as has always been a defining characteristic of CAMP and now EPIC, we're going to continue to work in close coordination with our partners, including with the Cannabis Control Section in our office, teaming up, Special Prosecution Section, and Tax Recovery and Underground Economy Task Force, so bringing different parts of our DOJ team together. CAMP was created in 1983 during what was then a very different time, a different era, a different moment, during the failed war on drugs and a time when cannabis was still entirely illegal here in California. Our laws have since changed, and so has CAMP. In recent years, the program has increasingly focused on environmental harms, human trafficking, and the underground economy. This is an example as how, as the challenges evolve, we evolve with them, to rise to the challenge, to meet the moment, to do what Californians need us to do. And today we are formalizing that renewed focus with more resources, a larger team to fight crime, and a new name, a new brand. At DOJ, our top priority is public safety. That does not change. That has remained the same and will continue. Alongside our law enforcement partners, EPIC is ensuring just that: the safety of our people, our environment, and our communities. Thank you again to my team at DOJ leading our enforcement work and this transition, and thank you to our law enforcement partners, especially the men and women who gear up and put their lives in harm's way to shut down illicit operations and keep our families safe. We look forward to our continued partnership through EPIC. And with that, let me introduce one of our many partners, State Director Karen Moritzen with the Bureau of Land Management.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Karen Moritzen, the State Director for the Bureau of Land Management, California. I'm pleased to join you all today with Dylan Reagan, our Special Agent in Charge for BLM California. Thank you for recognizing the value and importance of the 15 million acres of public lands managed by the BLM California, which includes incredible natural and cultural resources that are managed for all the American people. So at the BLM, we share a common goal with our state, our federal, and our local partners to protect our environment and provide for public safety. And our commitment to CAMP dates back nearly 40 years to 1983, to the beginning of this effort. CAMP's joint law enforcement efforts provide us an opportunity for a stronger and more effective partnership, both against the illegal cultivation of marijuana and for all of our management efforts. So we really value our partnership with all of our CAMP partners. As has been discussed, the illegal cultivation of marijuana on the public lands causes great damage to plant and wildlife resources. It poses a danger to our visitors and pollutes sensitive areas with hazardous chemicals. Thanks to the CAMP efforts this year, On or near the public lands, we removed over 126,000 plants, approximately 27,000 pounds of processed marijuana, 1,000 ounces of the restricted use pesticides, and on 44 grow sites that were on or near BLM lands. Approximately 80% of these sites were affiliated with drug trafficking organizations. And approximately 56 miles of water lines and 2 dams were found on BLM or nearby land. And these water lines and dams divert and pollute water resources and deprive the natural vegetation and wildlife of water. And we've seen a trend in use of water from the public lands over the last few years, which is very concerning. We had about 17 rangers and 7 special agents who worked on these camp teams, rangers from all over the state. And our BLM rangers supported over 280 hours of helicopter operations in Southern California. Several of our managers also went and assisted with these cleanups. And remediation work is carried out by our GIS specialists, our natural resource specialists, biologists, hazardous materials specialists, and many other employees, in addition to our law enforcement employees. So many times the impact of these illegal grows spreads to nearby public lands, private lands, and to downstream water sources, and impacts can be very long lasting if they're not eradicated and restored properly. BLM is very proud to be a partner with the California Department of Justice, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the California National Guard, and many other partners in this important effort. We look forward to these upcoming changes in the program and just continue to look forward to working with everyone.
Good afternoon. David Bess, Deputy Director and Chief of Law Enforcement with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Protecting California's natural resources is Fish and Wildlife's highest priority. And this is a perfect fit for our work with CAMP and its mission related to deforestation, damage to wildlife, habitat, hazardous chemical pollution, and the danger to our citizens from unlawful cannabis cultivation. There's no question that illegal cultivation significantly and substantially harms the environment, and it puts the public safety at risk and has no place in California's regulated market. For decades, we've teamed up with our federal, state, and local partners to combat illegal cannabis cultivation deep in the forest, where some of the state's worst environmental violations have occurred. These threats include illegal water diversions, illegal use of pesticides, use of banned pesticides, pollution of waterways, land clearing, and poaching of wildlife. Our decades-long work with our partners at the Department of Justice is now more important than ever, given the pressure that California's fish and wildlife has faced with this historic drought. These multi-agency operations also take illicit, untested, and potentially harmful cannabis products off the market, which in turn helps the regulated market succeed and provides another layer of public safety. With the CAMP transition to EPIC, our work will remain focused and steadfast in eliminating illegal cannabis operations. We are eternally grateful for the commitment and persistence of all California law enforcement officers who made the 2022 camp season a huge success. And with EPIC on the horizon, more great work is yet to come. Thank you.